Just on that, I'm slightly excited by City this season, having sat through the sort of dross of England in the summer. When you look, they've actually got good young English players there. Okay, so bought, but Hart, Johnson, I think, can be the young player of the year. Obviously, Milner's come in. Barry, you can argue whether his time's up with England. He's not exactly young. So from that thing, I think that is encouraging. But the one thing that's real, I take Dunny's point about the billing and Sean's point generally about City. But in terms of their buying this summer, apart from Yaya Toure, who I don't get either the wages or the need for him, they bought young, which I think is good. Bertin, we saw what he did to England. Kolarov, it's unfortunate he's injured, but he's a vastly superior full left back to Wainbridge. So in terms of, they haven't just bought a whole load of sort of 28, 29-year-olds in. They've bought for the future. So I think that, they should be praised for that. But this whole issue about team spirit, I mean, that takes time, that takes patience.
Well, exactly.
You're not going to, you can't go out and buy team spirit.
Not when you're changing your manager every season.
Absolutely. And that's why they have to...
Hang on. We're talking about Chelsea just before and saying how the team's pretty much not changed, just a tweak here and there over the last 5-6 seasons. They're never going to be able to do that. You just can't. You just will not get team spirit. All those coming in. I mean, it's an obvious thing to say. It can't happen.
But Sean, doesn't it help if you're buying younger players because you've got more chance of a team having a longer life?
Yeah, but there's no. You talk about younger players and say it's great they've got younger players. How many of them are going to start the game? They can't all start. There's going to be 25 players who are all very good players.
I think when City have their first choice 11 out, and if you're looking at Balotelli and Johnson and Bertin and Kolarov, that's going to be one of the youngest teams at the top half.
What happens to Micah Richards when everybody's fit? Say Botan comes back. Do you think he'll start?
Well, the funny thing about Richards, Richards I thought had been poor for the last couple of years, but he's actually been playing well at the moment.
I don't disagree.
I think he'll be on the bench.
He might be on the bench. There's a young England player who you've now just put on the bench. Yeah. Well, that's no good, is it? You've just been advocating them all coming through. Johnson's been injured for a long period of time.
City will still have 3 England players starting.
Guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. No one's guaranteed.
Well, exactly. It's not guaranteed, is it?
Of course it's not guaranteed because it has to be guaranteed by form.
Who are the 3? Hart, Johnson,
Milner.
Milner.
But
Gareth Barry, no?
Do you think he should be playing for England?
Go on, he's no good.
Well, so he's out.
He's out.
Well, so you're going to have some.
No, I think he'll be playing for City. But I don't think he'll be playing for England.
You're going to have some new English players coming on, but you're also going to ditch them at the same time.
So will Johnson play if he plays David Silva wide? I mean, it's. I know you
wouldn't play David Sullivan wide. I don't think.
Just go back to Adebayor. If you're Adebayor, do you shut up and just get on with it, or do you start saying, "I've got to get away from it"?
I don't think that's Adebayor's style, is it?
No, but okay.
I mean, that really.
What's your advice to him?
Well, at the moment, I agree with Sean. You can't go to City and expect not to be left out at some stage, can you?
Absolutely.
Even when Adebayor went. I mean, you must think, well, hang on a second, this is obviously going to happen. And don't forget that in return for what you sign on for, in terms of what your salary is and for the for the remuneration that you get, then it'd be nice if they have got some say over the matter. So if they want to put you on the bench, they put you on the bench. If they want to keep Shea Given, they keep Shea Given.
Yeah,
they didn't make Shea Given sign a contract.
No, I agree.
You
don't go to City for its great traditions and all that. A lot of these players, they didn't. They went because they were offered massive contracts.
Yeah,
they can't. And once they get dropped, they can't go whining saying, "Oh, this is appalling. It's a disgrace. I want out." Where are you going to go? Like, who's going to pay the wages that you're
The particular issue there, and I mean, I was at Spurs last weekend, and Redknapp made the point afterwards. He felt that when Adebayor came on, he gave them that focus. The problem they've got is that Mancini with City will essentially play holding midfielders. Either 2, he played 3 at Spurs, but preferably 2, which then, of course, creates a problem up front because he's going to play a 4-2-3-1 formation with Balotelli, one out-and-out striker. He's not going to play Balotelli and Adebayor. He's going to now have to play Tevez because for some reason he's made him captain. David Silva and Adam Johnson are probably going to play as well in like his first choice.
Sure Adam you keep saying Adam Johnson's going to play. As Andy's just made the point, he buys players like Silva and all that. Are you sure Adam Johnson's going to be playing?
Didn't
all
start
the time?
at White Hart Lane.
Didn't start at Tottenham.
You play him on 4. I know, and the fans were screaming for him to come on. Well, you obviously haven't been watching Adam Johnson enough.
I know. No, I think he's a good player.
I thought that was the best signing of the last January transfer.
I'm not arguing that he's a good player, but I'm just saying you have guaranteed him a place.
I'm not guaranteeing him a place.
His form will
guarantee him a place.
Well, it didn't guarantee him at Spurs. You know what? When you saw that team against Spurs, when you saw it put out, didn't you look at it and think, Well, that wouldn't scare me.
No.
You'd spend all this money and you look...
So will only form guarantee people places? I mean, that's that.
My immediate thought was why is Wright Phillips in it? Can I just go to your bling thing, which Henry referred to?
It's a great picture byline, by the way, with the cap.
Is my cap there?
Is this something you're concerned about?
No, the point of the piece is and it comes back to what Sean is saying in terms of the spirit of the squad, is that you don't get it by having a revolution every single transfer window.
No.
I mean, there is no sense of that team evolving. Let's get this straight, because City fans will have a go and they'll say, oh, like, you know, you're being against us, etc., because we've got all this money. No one is. You know, I mean, if they've got that money available, good on them. Go and spend it. No problem at all with that. Also, it would be nice, obviously, if this sort of cartel at the top of the Premier League was broken up. But the way they're going about it just doesn't seem to make much sense.
So who are the bad buys then?
Well, the Yaya Toure.
I agree with
when
that,
you say, if you start breaking it down into value for money, I mean, let's put it this way, none of the buys haven't come in, you know, the new regime, we're going to buy, I don't know, Kaká, Ronaldo, Buffon. These people haven't arrived. It's the tier underneath. Balotelli with a lot to prove, you know. And David Silva, who, to be fair, it's a tough side to get in, but doesn't get in the Spain side. And also had David Silva, of course, been of the very, very, very highest quality, as Spanish players do, would have moved to Real Madrid or Barcelona, as David Villa did.
Cesc Fabregas been going to Spain today. So.
Yeah, I know, but you got in ahead of him. But so these players, I mean, Kolarov, we don't know. I mean, he looks okay. You know, I mean, I agree. Boateng looks promising. But then you're going through it all, and that's the whole point. It's the sheer welter.
It's the welter of good players.
It's the age is the most important thing. I'm sorry to go back to this, but that is going to be a young team. But it allows the team to develop. Okay, 18 months ago.
Do you think Balotelli is going to hang around for long?
Do you think?
Difficult to tell.
Do you think you'd be the Balotelli testimonial?
Right. 18 months ago, when all that sort of Kaká stuff was going on, everyone was slaughtering Manchester City, and quite rightly, and said, listen, you can't have a revolution, you've got to have evolution. Buy young, organically. I agree with you, they are a tier down, because you're not going to get the sort of Kakás and Messis going to, well, probably not English football, but not going to Manchester City. So everyone was saying, listen, just build slowly, bed in young players, preferably some of them English. And City, to be fair to them, and Brian Marwood.
I thought you'd had one of your chats with Marwood this week. It sounds like it. Well, no, Henry, when you're on, just stress that. English, plenty of English. We're bringing them through. Youngsters, we're building. I bet you have.
I sat through the summer with you, which wasn't one of the greatest, joyous moments to have to sit next to you anyway, but also to have to watch England. And we go, oh, if only there were some good young English players coming through. Now, if City are developing,
I just don't know whether they're going to come through here.
What, you don't think Johnson's going to be a better player?
I don't know, is what I'm saying.
Henry,
I don't know if he's going to get...
What happens at City?
Get your calculator out and work out the average team.
Mancini's bringing all his players in that he wants, and the Mark Hughes signings clearly are being sort of... What happens if they're 7th in November?
Well, this is why I think that City have to stay patient with Mancini, because you cannot just get all these new players in and then get a new manager in and then just sort of get rid of everyone and start again. You can't have all these changes every year.
Patience aplenty from the owners and the board if Mancini doesn't do well. Listen, we all know the background to it. We all know that Mancini does need to get it right pretty quickly. I mean, he's not going to be given time. And then you'll have the same thing, you know.
Yeah, a new bloke comes in, get rid of that lot, bring this lot in.
Okay.
Well, and then you want his own players.
Exactly, you get Capello in.
What did you make of Stephen Ireland? He's gone in the deal to Villa. Milner's now gone to Eastlands. Stephen Ireland saying Mancini, no relationship with players at all, very cold. I spoke to Patrick Vieira. He's never had a relationship with him either as well. A bit like Capello, I suppose, isn't it? But did you think Ireland was out of order to say those things or not?
When players leave clubs, they rarely leave sort of throwing bouquets behind them. So now, I think there is a slight issue there, and I think it's interesting. Mancini's brought in one or two players that he's known from before, Balotelli and Vieira. So you assume there's some relationship there. But the whole point is, if this is a club that's going to be allowed to evolve, that's when the relationships gets built up. He's got to be given time and patience. There's a very good point that Harry Redknapp was making last weekend. He has to be allowed time.